Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Python for Programmers. So just going to pick up a few loose ends of what I've been doing on previous sections. So for those of you who are experienced programmers, you'll be thinking, yay, we haven't done this. So for those of you who are familiar with Fortran and COBOL and some other languages, you'll say, hey, where's the format statements? And in most languages you can do some kinds of structured formatted output, and Python is no different, and it has features for that and done many different ways. So those of you who come more from an algol route won't be expecting too much formatting at this point. So basic formatting can be done it does it on string literal, so you can specify some kind of string literal. So you can say this is a string, and on the string class there is a format method which can apply some kind of format to that string. So it can print it out in some way. So we can try and run that, and so that is an invalid format, but you can have no format and it just prints the string. So it just formats that string as a string, but what you can do is put further formatting in there. So you can augment it with various things. So that would say take the first argument. So that's out of range. So these count from 0, as you'd expect in any programming language. So that says at this point insert the 0th variable name from the format. So basically it's that string which is augmented by whatever format's in there. So we can take that further. We can add another variable. So we put lists of variables or constants or expressions in the format which will get substituted here. You can also substitute the variable in directly in some way. So we could put text in there. No, it doesn't recognize this is keyword text here, but it's actually got an augmented way of doing it. Now you can see I put an F in front of the string, and all of this is a formatted string, and now it will substitute the name variable text, and now 0 and 1 are just the values of 0 and 1, but we can put the values of some variables. So actually that's taken now that as the constant 0 and 1 to be placed in the string here, so it's converted the integer constant to a string. So, and here it's substituted the variable. So there's two ways of putting output strings into a format, and then you can print the string. There is a lot more detail of the kinds of things you can do, so formatting numbers to particular numbers of decimal points, to adding signs, to zero fill, zero suppression, lining up in columns and those kind of things. And I think for that level of detail you should probably just go to the Python manual on fancier input and output, and you can see the different ways that the formats can be used. So basically I'll just give you an idea of how it works so that you know you can format, and then you can reference the manual as you are an experienced programmer just to get what you need. So a further thing about dealing with files, I just gave a simple example up here how we're reading a file, and we open a file as this, and I just says read. Well, this read that we did before reads the whole file, and you might want to do something like loop through the file, so you can do some kind of iterator for F1 in, and we can do it in our file F, or we can just open our file and then we can go through the file one line at a time. So I could call that line of file. So we could go through the file line at a time. But that file only has one line. But equally, we could do a read line. So where we've done a read, so we could do something similar to what we've done before with the context manager, and we can read single lines of a file as well as reading the whole file. This file is unusual in that you notice that prints 2 lines and the second line is blank, and this prints only 1. So you can read a line of a file, you can read a whole file, you can iterate round a file, and you can format output strings by using a variable, or you can output them by positions using a format statement. So there's a basic summary of more you could do with input and output, and as I say, check the manual for those. So just a short episode, and that gets that out of the way, and in the next section we're going to look at some more unique ways of handling structured data types that Python gives us. So I hope you found that episode useful, and just flag up some of that data formatting for you.